Hey everybody, let's take a trip to the Mediterranean via Antigua, then Spain, and then into the Mediterranean. You're watching Barber Dave's Barbershop at Home. Hey everybody, so before we get started today, I would really appreciate it right there. Do what it says. Like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We'd certainly appreciate it. So, okay. Today's shave. Oh, also the big announcement. For those of you who were watching yesterday, you know that I had said, let's do a big announcement tomorrow. And it was going to be a series of epic proportion. Well, some of our viewers had said, why don't I do a series of shaves called, well, I kind of named it, but basically we're calling it Shave Across the Decades. Now, what does that mean? Well, what we're going to try to do, and hopefully if everything goes right, I'll have this up and running next week. It's going to be, well, let's see, like almost a, well, let's see. It's going to be like a 13-part series. And what we're calling it is Shave Across the Decades. So we're going to be starting in the late 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, right around in there. So we're going to limit that one to a 30-year time span because we want to get basically the Old West. And that really only spanned a very short period of time. So then we're going to do the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010s, 2020s. Now, what does that mean? Well, if everything goes right, we're going to try to make those shaves feel as if you're in that era. And we're going to try as best as we can, no guarantees, best as we can to use items that existed in that decade. And that includes soaps, that includes perfumes, men's perfumery, that includes shaving soaps or soaps that were used at the time. So we're going to do our best to try to do that. And if nothing else, it will be an homage to those decades. So we're going to try to have a lot of fun with that. And so join us hopefully next Sunday, which is where we're going to start that. And that'll be a fun series all across the decades. So join us, will you? Also, before we get started, please don't forget www.theshavingcadre.com. And up here, don't forget Drinks and Daves. Please subscribe to that channel so we can move our live shows over to our channel. Okay, today, what makes it Mediterranean? Well, first we're going to stop. We'll kind of go in different ways, but basically, the Mediterranean shave, what we're using today is and this is an all sterling shave, by the way. We're using Mediterranean Man. This is a wonderful soap. The West Indies, Antigua and stuff like that is by virtue of West Indies lime. Then we are all using, in Spain, we're using a Philharmonica 13 Doble Temple. So let's get started. Honestly, I think the original Philharmonicas, which is the JMP or Jose Montserrat Pou, those razors, which this is one of them. In fact, all the Phillies that I have are rival in steel to the CV Helgestrand. They're just, I would even go as far as saying that although the CV Helgestrand, the Swedish steel, is much harder, the Philharmonicas are much smoother on the face. And I don't want to say that the Swedish steel is harsh, by no means, but it's very tough steel. Tough to hone. But just wonderful. And the Mediterranean man is just so perfect for summer. Okay, I still have that issue on that follicle that you guys saw yesterday. So let's see if we can go for 2 for 3. Well, so far so good. I'm not going to claim victory yet because every time I do that, that's when it strikes. At least that's the way my CV Helgestran MK32 does. Good first pass. And I should say that the razor was stropped on the convex balsa for 40 and the convex Horween balsa or leather strap for 65. Why I picked those numbers, I have no clue. That's just what kind of ended up. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. I know for most of you it's a return to work day. This is my Saturday number 2 because I only have the shop open 3 days or 4 days a week rather. But I'm there usually 12 to 15 hours, so that's enough. Especially considering this is my retirement gig. But I did get some bad news today. Well, I shouldn't say bad news, just cautious news. We, being in the Southwest, of course, we haven't had a lot of rain, and we've had a lot of wind, and unfortunately, people that smoke, which I smoke cigars, so it's nothing against smokers, and I was a smoker for a long time, or people that don't take care of their RVs that are towing things, create sparks on a state highway we have just north of us. And right at that conjunction of Arizona State Route 77, which is also called US 80, just north of there, a new wildfire started. And it's burned about 500 acres so far. And it appears, by the wind, it's moving to the northeast. Well, unfortunately, northeast of that junction is Saddlebrook Ranch. And for those of you that know Saddlebrook Ranch, that's where my barbershop is located and where about 2,000 homes exist right now. And cautiously, the State Forestry Department has placed Saddlebrook Ranch under what they call SET, which is not an evacuation order, but it is a pre-evacuation order. And we're hoping that the bombers and everything else get that taken care of before it gets out of hand. Because that fire is only, by the way the crow flies, that fire is only about 2 miles from the leading edge of Saddlebrook Ranch. It's about 5 miles from where I live, down in the Golder Ranch Valley. So we're watching that very closely. And that's, unfortunately, it's typical fire season here. And there's also some rural communities just to the north of that on the way to Florence, Arizona, that could go under evacuation or set orders. We're hoping they catch it early enough. So if you got some prayers, we'd certainly appreciate it. Okay. Just a beautiful shave today. Somebody asked me yesterday, I think it was Kevin, one of our viewers, asked me about whether nicks or cuts take away from the enjoyment of shaving. Absolutely not. To me, it's something you don't want to happen, but you should expect. Because no matter how good your technique is, no matter what you're shaving with, whether it be a DE, an SE, see, I'm talking about it and it almost just happened. I let the blade and I touched down. So most of the time, it can either be a health-related issue, and what I mean by health is not, oh my God, I'm sick. No, let's say you have a follicle that's just inflamed, a pimple, a zit, whatever the case may be. That's one way you can get a nick, an ingrown hair. But if you're shaving with a DE and or a straight, you shouldn't get ingrown hairs. Now, that being said, there are certain ethnic groups that are prone to getting ingrown hairs. And that comes from how the hair grows out of the follicle. If it grows in a curl, sometimes it doesn't always grow outside the follicle, and you can get an ingrown hair. So that's two ways right there. Another way is if you take off a mole. But either way, nicks are expected, and it does not take away from the shave. Like, for instance, today I wasn't paying attention. I didn't get myself completely at the base of the ear, but I also got myself here. But it's very little. It's more of a weeper. So it happens. And if you're just getting into traditional wet shaving, you know, you need to expect it. But just be cognizant of it, and always, I say it over and over again because I fly. Have situational global awareness of where that point is, where your hand is, all that good stuff. But it happens to all of us. The thing you want to avoid, and I did okay today with that, the thing you want to avoid is the big wreck. The one where you could need stitches or a lot of healing time. And that happens more so probably in straight razors, but if you're starting to use a Gillette slide, that can happen. Or if you're making a video around your neck and you start talking. So far, a wonderful shave. Also, we get another announcement that we'll make, probably in later August. We've got some exciting news over on the Cadre that hasn't been around in 3 years, and it's being resurrected, but you have to wait for that. Also, if you are a member of the Cadre, and why wouldn't you be? In a couple hours, check out the What's in Front of You thread. I was out walking the ranch this morning, and let us just say we came across a couple of critters. critters. So take a look, and I think you'll enjoy it. Just part of living in the Southwest. But these were good guys. These weren't bad guys. Okay, let's see how we did. I do feel a little bit, I think I was a little heavy-handed, and I have a tendency to be that way with this filly. I don't know why, but I have a tendency to be that way. Plus, the edge is just hugely sharp. No, actually, it wasn't that bad. Felt like it was. A little bit in the neck, and right here where I thought I caught myself. And then underneath the earlobe where I did catch myself, but it didn't bleed. But I felt it. So see what I mean? If you're complacent, that kind of crap happens. I'll let that steep, as I said yesterday. Why I said steep, I don't know. It's not like, well, I'm not going to use the word because certain individuals will, let's say, hammer me for it. Yes, I'm speaking to you, Nurse Dave. And yes, in Arizona, we turn on the hot water to get cold water because our groundwater in our well heats up as it gets closer to the ground, because the ground heats up, because a lot of times the ground can be anywhere from 150 to 175 degrees. Not so much on the dirt, but on the asphalt, probably 140. So we actually turn on the hot water because the hot water heater is inside the house, and it stays cold, which is, it makes your brain melt. That you would turn on the hot water to get ice cold water. Like, for instance, right now, cold water, probably 85 to 90 degrees. Cold water, or hot water, 40 degrees. Yeah, we live in the Matrix. For our witch hazel today, we are going to be using Thayer's lemon, because it is that Mediterranean feel. And I've said it a billion times before, and I'll link it here, but Sterling, just clock out of the park. Good stuff. So let's go over everything while we're letting the witch hazel dry down. So for our razor today, we did use a Philharmonica 13 Doble Tempo. This is a JMP, or a Jose Montserrat Poo, one of the originals. It is one of my favorite razors from Philly, but I do have a 12 and a 14 that I really like as well. For the brush today, our good buddy Eric Sorrentino and Eric Sorrentino's Pillar of Creation. Now, the reason why that's called that is because if you look at some of the early Hubble telescopes pictures, they took a picture of the Orion Nebula where there was a star nursery, and I just get that feeling. Plus, it's got this azure tealish blue that reminds me of the Mediterranean. See, I've always got some matchy thing going on. But before we got there, we had to stop by Antigua and Tortola and Tortuga and pick up some rum from Captain Jack, but we also needed to pick up some West Indies lime. To me, this lime is just, out of all the lime scents I have, and I have a ton, this one I think is the purest of all the lime scents. It's just, I wish that Rod, hint, hint, would make a, and he may already have an EDP in this. I don't think he does, so, but just beautiful. Oh, God, I love that. For the talc today, we're going to be using, since it's a neutral talc and we don't want to ruin any of the limey flavors, Yardley Elegance. Because as most of you know, what is Monday for me? Come on, say it with me. Say it with me. Yes, Barber Errand Day. So I get to go out in this disgusting heat and go do all my errands. I'm going to go take a look at the fire. Probably shoot a few pictures of that if I can get close enough. And then down into town. We're supposed to be getting monsoons, but we've been having, 40 to 50% chance of monsoons, and we haven't gotten squat. We had one storm on Monday where we got 2 inches of rain and some hail, but that wasn't even forecasted, so go figure. El Nino is here. So we'll see what what happens there. And then for the EDT today, once again, and the soap. Yes, of course, we used Sterling Mediterranean Man. This is just I think it's very similar to Creed Europha. I have not tried Europha, but this screams Mediterranean. And yes, you want to put it on liberally because it is a very light scent, but it's beautiful. Okay, guys, that's it. So again, we'll see you tomorrow, of course. But don't forget to join us next week for what's going to start Shave Across the Decades. We're going to start out in the wild, wild west of the late 70s, 1880s, and 1890s. And then we'll move through the decades every 10 years until we get to the 2020s. And we'll see what kind of fun stuff we have. We're going to try the brushes if we can find it. The homage to the soaps. The razors, which I do have most of the razors in the periods that we speak of. So hope you guys will enjoy that. Hey, everybody, have a great Monday. And I really, really hope that that you will come back and see us tomorrow. And we appreciate you guys being viewers and subscribers. And have a great day and take care. I'm Barber Dave. See you later.